Your knees are burning.
My knees are burning. That canvas took all the skin off my kneecaps.
Well, first of all, welcome back to Fight again, to the winners column. How are you feeling after such a long time away and being able to get back in there and getting a win?
I feel good. I feel really good, actually. You know, today was like the perfect fight to kind of show everything I've been working on. You know, it wasn't as exciting as I wanted it to be, but I really feel like I showed that I'm not just a kickboxer, and I'm happy about that. I've been working a lot on my wrestling and my grappling, so today's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, I think everyone was expecting maybe more of a stand-up fight, and you went in there and showed off your grappling. Did you know beforehand you were going to do that, or as soon as you got in there you thought, you know what, I've got superior grappling than this girl, I can just do it?
Nah, bro, I spent the last 12 weeks working on my wrestling. You know, I'm happy to strike with everyone, you know. However, I feel like this was kind of the best case scenario, the perfect opponent to show that I have more than just kickboxing. And so it really, you know, I spent 12 weeks working heavily on my wrestling, heavily on my jiu-jitsu. But Coach Kieran and I had said, you know, it's a coin flip. If we want to kickbox, we're going to kickbox. If we want to wrestle, we're going to wrestle, you know. She came out a little differently to what I was expecting. She came out a little more aggressively than I've seen her do in the past. And then it just switched in my head like, yeah, this is what we've been working. When she's aggressive, we're going to wrestle. And then it just kind of happened to be from the first bell to the last bell. With
that in mind, though, is it, since you've had so much time away, is it good to get those minutes back up, just get yourself feeling back used to the cage? For sure.
Because especially, you know, at the end of the first round, like I know my conditioning is good. All I've been doing is wrestling and conditioning. But there definitely was like some year off nerves that it took the full first round for them to kind of shake out, you know. So a finish would have been nice, but I also am glad to show that I can wrestle and I can grapple for 15 minutes and still be pretty strong, still be comfortable, still be happy at the end of it.
Burning knees aside, I imagine that you'd like to get back in there sooner rather than later, get some momentum going and get back on the horse after such a long time out.
Honestly, I'm really enjoying these 12-week camps that I've been having. You know, before I got signed to the UFC, majority of my fights were short notice. So I feel like as I'm getting older, I'm trying to be more professional about my preparation. So having the 12 weeks to prepare and really focus on what I want to do, what I want to improve on, how to strengthen my strengths and strengthen my weaknesses, has been perfect for me. Plus, you know, this whole last camp, like my dogs, Blue and Dog, have been so patient. I haven't been able to take them anywhere, and I feel like I really owe them a little road trip now. So I'm going to take 2 weeks to take them out adventuring and then kind of come back and get back to work and hopefully line something up for March. February, March would be a good time frame.
There's rumours of an Israel-Rob Whittaker fight in February. You could be on the undercard of that.
That would be amazing. I could never fight after Rob Whittaker. Obviously, it's their card. I'm not going to fight after him. But I get so emotionally invested when Robert Whittaker fights. I actually don't know if I could do that or not, to be honest. I would love to be on a card with a ton of Aussies. But there's so few of us and they're all my friends that it's hard to fight on the same cards as them because I do get so emotionally invested in their careers as well. So maybe that one I want to be a spectator for, honestly.
That's fair. Last thing for me, I saw you do like the Running Man dance after that.
I tried to.
Is that like a thing we do, or is it just spur of the moment? Why?
Well, it's like a running joke at my gym, CSA, that I have terrible dance ability.
I mean,
so I think everyone knows that now. But my best friend Amber and I had been planning a little victory dance, and it was the Running Man, maybe a little bit of moonwalking, but I was kind of too involved in the moment.
It was like the limping man.
Yeah, it was like, should I do this? Can I do it? My knees fucking hurt.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Amy.
There was a few moments where your opponent had what looked like maybe a wardrobe malfunction or near wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah.
And, you know, as women, we kind of understand that. Maybe can you explain like what kind of would go through your mind if something like that was happening to you, how that might affect the fight?
Honestly, I would hope that my opponent would point it out to me the way I did for her, you know, because I had to get mine tailored. Even while we were warming up for this fight, I had to go give the seamstress my bra to tailor it for me because I was falling out of the bottom, you know. And then in the very first round, when I had her head up against the cage and I was in her guard, I could see I almost wanted to adjust it for her, but then I was like, "Fuck, she's gonna armbar me if I give her my hand right now." But yeah, you know, like I really love the way these Venom kits look. They look incredible, so professional. I do think that the women's tops maybe just need a little more work, you know, because I've been having issues with it this week personally. And then obviously she was half falling out of it in the fight as well, but she adjusted.
Yeah, and I think people noticed that you pointed it out, like, hey, and I think you got a lot of props for that.
Oh, thank you. I would want someone to do it for me, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
We actually had a code word. Amber and we had a code word. If my boobs were starting to fall out, she was going to yell out alfalfa, and then I was going to adjust.
But that's amazing. You know that now people are just going to yell that during your fights, right?
Alfalfa. Do it.
Yeah. New word. Also, one of the main discussions this week was Paulo Costa's weight. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious, you know, what your opinion on a fighter coming in and changing their weight short notice like that. Number one, how you feel about him doing that, but also if that was you, how would you react to your opponent?
I don't know. I have a multitude of thoughts about that. I think it's very unprofessional and ridiculous. I give huge props to Vettori for how he handled it. He kind of, you know, like, yeah, he was pissed off about it, but he took it all on the chin and was like, no, we're here to fight. Like, we're going to fight no matter what. I do feel like there should be more repercussions for Paulo Costa for behaving that way. Because honestly, it just, from the outside looking in, it just seems like he doesn't want to fight. That's kind of what I read from the situation. I don't know, obviously, but I really hope UFC takes this opportunity to set some stronger guidelines, because I feel like if one person is allowed to do it, then other people are gonna try to push it as well, and I don't think that's right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, if you thought maybe this would increase those types of things happening, or if you think it was sort of a special situation because it was him.
I don't think there should ever be any special situations. Like, whether you're the number one ranked or you're a debut, like, we're all here for the exact same reason. We all have the same expectations. We all have the same guidelines. I don't think exceptions should be made for anyone, especially when they just obviously don't give a fuck about what anyone else is doing, you know? So I would hope that this would lead to the UFC tightening their guidelines a bit.
Thank you.
Welcome.
You had mentioned that it was kind of a coin toss, whether it was going to be a wrestling match or whether it was going to be a striking match. At what point did you make that decision? And was it a matter of what she brought to you and what you were able to deal with? At what point did you sort of decide where it was going to go?
Honestly, the decision maker for me was whether she advanced immediately or whether she backed off. Because I'd seen in fights previously of hers where she'd been a little more hesitant to engage. She'd sat back a lot to kind of counter. I had a feeling this whole week, though, that she was going to try to come at me straight away. You know, it's just, I woke up thinking that this morning, and I kind of, that's what I said to myself this morning. Like, if she comes at me immediately, it's going to be wrestling. It's going to be wrestling. And that's what she did. She didn't give me kind of any chance to even read, you know. I'm just very thankful that I have such an elite team when it comes to my wrestling, from Team Alpha Male, Adam Piccolotti, to El Nino, to Daniel Cormier. Like, I have such a high level team of wrestlers that I get to work with every single day, where I didn't feel uncomfortable in that situation. But it was whether she was going to advance or whether she was going to back away was going to determine which direction I tried to lead the fight in.
And I know when we see athletes that are really skilled in one aspect and then they start taking on another discipline and they really go all in, they're usually kind of, I guess, maybe wishy-washy. They always want to go back to what has been their bread and butter. But I guess for the fight to go as well as it was and as dominant, I guess how good does that make you feel for the work that you actually did? Because it looked like wrestling was a big part of your background because of the work that you've done. But how good does that make you feel of what you were able to see and do out there?
Honestly, any time I can work on something through a camp and then put it into effect on fight day is a huge accomplishment, win or lose, you know. I could have lost that fight and still wrestled the way I wrestled and been happy with the effort that I put forth, you know. The fact that it got me the win as well is just a cherry on top, but it definitely just really highlights that I'm going in the right direction with my training. I'm finally in the right place. Like, I'm working with the right coaches, the right training partners, and I feel like the only way for me to go is up now.
And you mentioned how strong that she felt. I know in the past, and I assume it's probably the same, strength training has always been a big part of what you did as well. Is that still a large part of, maybe not fight camp, but just part of your fight preparation?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. 3 mornings a week, I drive an hour and a half out to Sacramento and I go do strength training before I train at Team Alpha Male. It's a huge proponent of my training always, especially now that I'm back at 135. She didn't necessarily feel strong. She was very long. She was like, that was the thing that maybe I didn't adjust for throughout my camp, was how long her arms and how long her legs and how long her torso were. It wasn't necessarily that she felt strong. You know what I mean? I'm very, very, very confident in my strength for my size. There's never been anyone that I've fought, whether they're featherweights or bantamweights or flyweights, that I felt was stronger than me, and that's still the case.
And I know you've had some time away from the cage. How good did it feel? I mean, did you feel any nerves coming in there? Did you feel any ring rust walking, going in there? I mean, how did it feel to actually finally get back in there and fight at fight speed?
It was amazing. I feel like since my last fight, it's been such a journey going through knee surgery, rehab, coming back into fight camp. It's been a lot of ups and downs, I'm not going to lie. Today I've been terrified all day. And I don't know why. This is like my 21st or my 22nd fight. I've been doing this for 10 years, but I think it was just coming to fight after my first major surgery. Well, actually my first surgery. I was very nervous about it, Joselyne's no joke as an opponent either. And I had a feeling she was going to come out differently to what she has in the past. And I could feel that. And that scared the shit out of me, not going to lie. But once I got in there, it's always once I start the walk and I hear my music and I get to say goodbye to my team and I walk in the cage, I'm fucking good. Yeah.
And now that when you look forward, are you going to try to get back in before the end of the year, or is the plans immediately shifting to preparation for next year?
Yeah, preparation for next year. March, April sounds good. Let me take some time off to hang out with my dog, celebrate my birthday, and then, dedicate a full 12 weeks to another camp.
And then looking at the division and goals for next year, what sort of goals are you setting for yourself next year?
Honestly, I'd like to get a solid 3 fights in next year. I keep having these year and a half long chunks of time off. So I would really like to get a solid 3 in next year. I know the position I'm in with my training. I have the ability to do that. My body feels good. I'm finally able to just dedicate every second of my day to training and to fighting. So 3 next year would be incredible. That seems like a good time frame. And I don't really care who I fight. I just want to come in here and fight, make some money, and show that I get better each time.
And I know since you're so focused on fighting, what does downtime look like with the dogs? Yeah, are you a camper? I mean, what do you do in downtime when you're getting away from fighting?
Well, honestly, I really needed to win this fight so I could afford to get my Bronco fixed, because I'm building it into a mini camper van. And then once that's done, the dogs and I are going to get on the road for a bit. Probably go spend a week or 2 driving through Texas, go to the East Coast and just go on a few weeks adventure. And I'm excited for that. I don't think they know what's happening, but I'm sure they'll be excited when we do it.
Awesome. Congrats on the victory.
Thank you.